If a person's silence screams louder than their words, you must learn to listen. Because sometimes the greatest heartbreak is not being unloved. It is wasting your love on someone who chooses to ignore it. There is a truth that must be remembered, a truth that cannot be erased no matter who chooses to ignore you, dismiss you, or turn away from you. Your value does not decrease because they cannot see it. Too often, people measure their worth by the attention they receive, by the applause they are given, by the recognition others choose to offer. But what happens when the crowd is silent? What happens when the person you long to notice you looks away as if you are invisible? Too many hearts break under the weight of that silence. Too many souls begin to believe that if no one sees them, they must not matter. But my dear, your worth is not in their sight. Your worth is in your being. Think of the ocean. Whether anyone stands on the shore or not, the ocean still roars. The waves still move with power. The tides still answer to the moon. It does not need an audience to prove its strength. So it is with you. Whether the world claps for you or not, you are still vast, still powerful, still filled with depth beyond measure. Do not let the blindness of others convince you to shrink. Do not let their failure to see stop you from shining. There are people who walk through museums and pass by priceless art without a second glance. There are people who hold ancient coins, rare and irreplaceable, and see nothing but metal. And yet those objects do not lose their value simply because the untrained eye cannot recognize their worth. So why then do you allow someone's inability to see your greatness make you question if you have any at all? It is not your job to convince the blind to see. It is not your task to drag someone into the awareness of your beauty, your brilliance, your power. If they cannot see, it is their limitation, not your flaw. Too many lives are wasted chasing validation, begging for acknowledgement, exhausting themselves trying to earn from others what was already written into their soul from the beginning. You were born worthy. Long before anyone applauded, long before anyone rejected, long before anyone whispered your name with love or spat it with contempt, you carried value. It cannot be erased, it cannot be reduced, it cannot be stolen by someone's refusal to acknowledge it. There are some people who will never see you, not because you are not shining, but because their eyes are closed. There are some who cannot recognize love no matter how freely you give it, because their hearts are locked. There are some who will never honor loyalty no matter how faithfully you show up, because they do not know how to receive it. And yet, their blindness, their closedness, their unawareness does not diminish who you are. It only exposes what they lack. If you hand a pearl to someone who only knows stones, they may toss it aside as worthless. If you offer gold to someone who only understands dirt, they may not recognize its gleam. But the pearl does not stop being rare. The gold does not stop being precious. And you must not stop believing in yourself because someone else lacks the wisdom to value you. There is freedom in knowing this truth. Freedom from the chains of approval, freedom from the exhausting chase of validation, freedom from the constant fear of rejection. When you understand that your worth is independent of their recognition, you no longer bend yourself into shapes that were never meant for you. You no longer silence your voice to fit into spaces that were never built for you. You no longer sacrifice your joy to sit at tables where your presence is ignored. When you know your value, you learn to walk away. You learn to stop knocking on closed doors, begging them to open. You learn to stop standing in rooms where your spirit is invisible. You learn to stop offering your heart to those who only know how to trample it. And instead, you begin to rise. You begin to walk with dignity. You begin to live with the quiet confidence that says, I am enough as I am. Your worth is not measured in likes, in followers, in claps, in compliments, in returned calls, or answered messages. Your worth is not found in being chosen by the one you longed for, in being remembered by the one who forgot you, in being loved by the one who left you. Your worth is not tied to their presence or their absence. Your worth is eternal, unchanging, rooted in the very breath of life that flows through you. And yet so many forget, so many crumble at the first sign of dismissal. A cold shoulder feels like proof of inadequacy. A missed text feels like evidence of unworthiness. But what if I told you that none of that has the power to alter who you are? A diamond does not become glass simply because someone mistook it for a stone. The sun does not lose its fire simply because someone closed their curtains. The flower does not stop blooming simply because no one stops to admire it. And so you too must keep shining, keep blooming, keep rising, whether or not anyone notices. Your value is not a negotiation. It is not up for debate. It is not given by man, and it cannot be taken away by man. Those who cannot see you are not your judges. Those who ignore you are not your measure. Those who dismiss you are not the final word. You are the final word. Your Creator has already spoken your value into existence, and no act of man can silence it. Do not spend your life explaining your worth to those determined not to understand. Do not waste your heart chasing people who treat your soul like a shadow. Stand firm in the truth of who you are. For when you stop begging others to see your value, you will begin to see it yourself. And when you finally see it, nothing and no one will ever be able to take it away again. There are answers in this world that do not come wrapped in words. There are truths that arrive not in declarations, not in arguments, not in long speeches, but in silence. Too many hearts suffer because they refuse to hear what silence is already saying. They wait for explanations, for confessions, for apologies, for clarity that never comes, when all along the silence has been speaking louder than words ever could. Silence is not empty. It is filled with meaning. It is an answer, and you must learn to hear it. When someone ignores you, they are telling you something, even if they never form the words. When calls go unanswered, when messages are left unread, when your presence is met with absence, the silence is not neutral. It carries weight. It speaks of priority. It speaks of choice. It speaks of where their heart does not dwell. And yet so often we cover our ears to this truth, preferring to hold on to hope, to excuse neglect, to pretend that silence is simply noise waiting to be broken. But silence in its own way is complete. It is already the answer. Think of a tree in winter. No leaves, no blossoms, no fruit. The branches stand bare and cold. You do not look at that tree and expect it to suddenly feed you. You accept that the season has spoken. Silence is like that winter tree. It reveals the truth of what is no longer there. You can ignore it. You can stand by it, waiting for flowers that will not come, but the silence has already told you there is nothing to be gathered here. We are taught to cherish words, words of love, words of comfort, words of explanation. And yes, words can heal, they can build, they can guide, but silence also holds its own power. Silence is a declaration. When someone chooses not to speak, not to answer, not to respond, they have still chosen. That choice must not be overlooked. Do not rewrite their silence into the story you wish to hear. Do not invent meaning where the absence of meaning is the meaning itself. So many of us become interpreters of the unspoken bending silence into hope. We say they must be busy, they must be hurt, they must need time. And while sometimes those things may be true, often silence is the plainest truth there is. They are not coming, they are not choosing you, they are not invested in keeping you close. And the tragedy is not their silence, but your refusal to hear it. When someone loves you, truly loves you, silence does not linger. When someone cares for you, silence is not their answer. Even in distance, even in struggle, even in hardship, love finds a way to speak. It does not abandon you in the dark, but when love is absent, when affection is shallow, when interest has faded, silence becomes the only voice left. And that voice, though quiet, is loud enough to free you if you let it. The problem is that too many of us confuse silence with mystery. We call it complicated. We say we don't understand. But silence is not complicated. It is clarity. It may hurt, it may not be what you wanted, but it is clear. And once you learn to hear it, you no longer waste your time waiting on echoes that will never come. You learn to move forward. You must begin to honor yourself enough to accept silence as closure. Stop demanding explanations from those who have already told you, in their quiet withdrawal, what you need to know. Stop holding your breath for words that will never arrive. Sometimes the most merciful thing you can do for your own heart is to take silence as the full sentence it is and walk away. The silence of others is not always cruelty. Sometimes it is indifference. Sometimes it is their own inability to face you, their own fear of truth, their own failure of courage. But whatever the root, it is still a message. It says, this is not where your love should rest. This is not where your time should stay. This is not where your soul will flourish. To ignore that message is to betray yourself. There is a silence that wounds, but there is also a silence that heals. The silence that wounds is theirs, the silence of neglect, of disregard, of dismissal. But the silence that heals is yours. The silence you embrace when you finally stop chasing answers that will not come. The silence you choose when you sit with yourself and realize that peace is better than pursuit, dignity is better than desperation, and clarity is better than confusion. When you stop filling the air with questions, excuses, and longing, you finally hear the gentle truth your soul has been whispering all along. You deserve more than this. Do not mistake noise for love, and do not mistake silence for uncertainty. When someone refuses to acknowledge you, when they meet your care with emptiness, believe them. Believe the silence. It is not your job to translate their refusal into hope. It is not your task to turn their absence into presence. Your task is to honor what is revealed to you, to accept what is spoken without words, and to choose yourself when they choose not to. The hardest thing, perhaps, is that silence rarely comes with ceremony. There is no final bow, no grand closing, no dramatic goodbye. It just drifts in. Calls grow less frequent. Words grow shorter. Presence fades. And then one day, there is nothing but silence. And because there is no announcement, we convince ourselves that perhaps it is temporary. But the truth is that the quiet ending is still an ending. The silence is still the answer. And you must learn to honor that ending, even if it comes without punctuation. Life becomes lighter when you stop demanding words from those who have nothing to say. Life becomes clearer when you stop waiting for explanations from those who have already given their answer in silence. And life becomes freer when you trust silence as the teacher it is, a teacher that says, not here, not them, not anymore. There is a weariness that seeps into the bones when you spend your days chasing after attention that was never meant to stay. There is a hunger that never finds satisfaction when you beg for eyes that turn away the moment you approach. Attention that must be chased is not attention worth keeping, for anything that demands you to run endlessly after it was never truly yours to begin with. So many people waste the fire of their spirit trying to hold on to those who keep slipping away. They exhaust themselves calling out, only to be answered with indifference. They twist themselves into shapes unrecognizable just to catch the glance of someone who will never look long enough to see them. But attention that is borrowed through effort, through pleading, through constant pursuit, is fragile. It shatters the moment you stop running. Love in its truest form does not need to be hunted. Affection, when it is real, does not hide itself like prey waiting to be caught. You should not need to spend your life out of breath, chasing after someone's acknowledgement. For attention that vanishes when you stop running is not love, not care, not respect. It is only a mirage in the desert of longing. You run toward it thinking it will quench you, but the moment you arrive, it disappears, and you are left thirsty once again. You must understand this. Anything you have to fight for just to be seen will never sustain you. If you must beg for their notice, beg for their time, beg for their words, then you are not receiving love. You are feeding on crumbs, and crumbs, no matter how many you gather, will never equal a feast. You were not born to survive on leftovers of someone else's distracted gaze. You were born to sit at a table of abundance, to be met with eyes that see you without effort, without hesitation, without running. Think of the sun. It does not chase the earth. It rises in its place, steady, certain, and the earth turns to it. The light is not diminished if someone chooses to close their blinds. The warmth is not lessened if one person hides in the shade. The sun knows its own power. It shines whether it is seen or not. This is how love should be. Love that is real does not hide, does not run, does not make you chase. It simply is. And when it is yours, it meets you where you stand. Yet how many of us have confused pursuit with passion? How many of us have mistaken the thrill of the chase for the depth of true love? We believe that running after someone proves our devotion, when in reality it only proves our desperation. We believe that their elusiveness makes them valuable, when in truth it only reveals their unwillingness to give. The attention that makes you sweat, that makes you ache, that makes you question yourself, is not the treasure you think it is. It is a chain, and it binds you to emptiness. Attention worth keeping is mutual. It is given, not extracted. It flows naturally, not forcefully. When someone truly cares, you do not have to perform for their eyes. You do not have to scream for their ears. You do not have to beg for their time. They offer it freely because their heart finds joy in giving it to you. Real attention, the kind that sustains the soul, is consistent, steady, and safe. It does not disappear when you turn your back. It does not vanish the moment you grow tired of running. It remains because it is rooted in truth. So many hearts are weary because they confuse fleeting attention for lasting love. They live off the high of being noticed for a moment, only to crumble when that moment fades. But lasting love is not a spark that flickers. It is a flame that endures. If their attention comes only when you chase it, it is not a flame. It is a trick of the light, gone as quickly as it came. You deserve better than that. You deserve a love that lingers, a love that stays, a love that does not need to be chased. There is dignity in letting go of what runs from you. There is power in saying, I will not exhaust myself for what does not want to be caught. Your soul was not made to pant endlessly in pursuit of half-hearted glances. Your spirit was not designed to beg for scraps of acknowledgement. You were created to stand tall, to be seen without effort, to be valued without question. If you must chase it, it was never yours. If you must constantly prove yourself to keep it, it is not love, it is performance. And performances are tiring, unsustainable, and empty. You cannot live your life on a stage where your worth is measured only by how well you can dance to someone else's tune. Love that is real does not ask you to perform. It asks you to be. And in your being, you are seen. When you finally stop chasing, something miraculous happens. You reclaim your energy. You reclaim your dignity. You reclaim your time. And you make space for the right people to arrive, the ones who do not demand pursuit, but instead meet you with presence. You stop running after shadows and start standing in the light of what is real. And in that light, you discover that love was never meant to tire you, never meant to exhaust you, never meant to leave you breathless in desperation. Love was meant to sustain you, to restore you, to give you rest. So if you find yourself chasing, pause. Ask yourself why. Ask yourself if the one who runs is truly worth the years you are wasting in pursuit. Ask yourself if this hunger, this ache, this exhaustion is what love is supposed to feel like. And if the answer is no, and deep down you already know it is, then let go. Step out of the chase. Stand still. Because attention that must be chased is not attention worth keeping, and the sooner you release it, the sooner you will make room for the love that is already on its way to meet you where you are. Rejection has a sting that no heart wishes to feel. It is sharp, it is sudden, it is heavy. It arrives without mercy, leaving behind silence, leaving behind emptiness, leaving behind the ache of unanswered questions. Yet in the very place where rejection bruises, there is a hidden gift. What feels like loss is often life itself whispering to you, not this way, not this person, not this path. What you call rejection is not an ending. It is a redirection toward your own strength. So many people crumble under the weight of being turned away. A closed door makes them believe they are unworthy. A denied opportunity makes them believe they are not enough. A lost love makes them believe they will never be chosen again. But the truth is this: rejection is not a verdict on your worth. It is not proof that you lack. It is not the world declaring you are insufficient. Rejection is simply life rerouting you, moving you out of places that cannot hold you, guiding you towards something greater, something stronger, something that belongs to you in truth. Think of a river. When it meets a rock too heavy to move, it does not stop. It does not give up. It does not turn bitter. It simply redirects, carving out a new path, flowing where it is meant to flow. The water does not curse the stone for standing in its way. It simply moves around it, continuing toward its destiny. You must learn to live like that river. Rejection is not a wall, it is a turn. It is life saying, go this way instead. We mistake rejection for punishment when often it is protection. That job you didn't get may have drained your soul. That friend who turned away may have betrayed your trust. That lover who walked out may have shackled your spirit. You see the pain of being pushed aside, but you do not see what dangers you were spared, what heartbreaks you were saved from, what smallness you were never meant to settle for. Rejection, though cruel in its arrival, often spares you from futures that would have broken you more than the moment ever could. And within rejection lies another truth. It wakes up your strength. It shows you what you are made of. When you are told no, when you are turned away, when you are overlooked, you discover the fire in you that refuses to be extinguished. You rise because you must. You stand because you cannot fall forever. You begin to see that your worth was never tied to the one who dismissed you. You begin to build yourself anew, stronger, firmer, surer than before. Without rejection, many would never discover their resilience. Without rejection, many would never rise into their true power. Do not despise the doors that close. They are saving you from wasting your steps. They are preventing you from giving your heart to what cannot hold it. They are protecting you from rooms too small for your spirit. Every no you hear, every silence you receive, every back that turns away is not the world ending. It is your story unfolding in the only way it can. The rejection is a guidepost pointing you in the direction of your own becoming. How many times have you looked back and whispered, "Thank God that did not work out"? The job you thought you needed, the love you thought would last, the people you thought you could not live without. How many of them would have destroyed you if they had stayed? What you thought was the end was really the beginning. What you thought was devastation was really liberation. Rejection is not cruelty, it is clarity. It is life removing what is not meant for you so that what is meant can arrive. But to receive this gift, you must shift your vision. You must stop treating rejection as proof of your weakness and begin to see it as proof of your direction. You must learn to say, if not here, then somewhere better. If not them, then someone truer. If not now, then in a time that will honor me. This is not denial. This is wisdom. This is trust in the unfolding of your life. When someone rejects you, it is not your job to beg for their acceptance. When a door shuts, it is not your job to pound your fist bloody against it. When life reroutes you, it is not your task to resist the turn. Your task is to walk forward. Your task is to keep moving. Your task is to stand tall in the knowledge that rejection is not about losing. It is about being redirected to where your strength will grow, where your soul will flourish, where your destiny will meet you. There will be days when rejection feels unbearable, nights when loneliness presses in, moments when you doubt that life is working in your favor. But strength is born in those very hours. Strength does not grow in ease. It grows when you are tested. It grows when you are refused. It grows when you are left to stand alone. And once it grows, once it blooms in you, you will never be the same. You will carry a dignity that no rejection can take, a confidence that no dismissal can steal, a fire that no closed door can extinguish. Rejection will come. It will wound you. It will disappoint you. It will shake you, but it will also shape you. It will carve you into someone who knows their worth cannot be dictated by others. It will guide you into spaces that were built for you, with people who will not overlook you, with opportunities that will not pass you by. Rejection is not the thief of your dreams. It is the compass pointing you toward the dreams that are truly yours. So let the rejection come and let it do its work. Do not chase those who walk away. Do not cling to doors that are locked. Do not waste your tears on places that cannot hold your greatness. Stand tall, trust the turn, believe in the redirection. For every no that life gives is an invitation to discover your strength, to find your true path, to rise into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. There is a posture the soul takes when desperation enters the heart. It is a posture of reaching, of clinging, of begging. It is the lowering of your crown, the bowing of your dignity, the silent belief that if you stretch yourself far enough, if you make yourself small enough, if you bend enough, you will finally be seen.